When I was so abandoned, I just truly, truly was.
Yeah.
And I really knew in that second epiphany, I did not want to be this version or that version of myself moving forward. And it really was that big of a moment of, what am I going to do from here? Am I going to be the woman that's, whose husband cheated on her and she's a victim?
Two voices in the kitchen light, laughing while the day unwinds, talking through the tangled lines. You and me, we're on your side, asking for a friend. We've all been there, it's fine. Corey and Roseanne, saying what's on your mind. A little heart, a little mess, and the truth in the end. You're never on your own, you're just asking for a friend. Asking for a friend.
So I think that I've been thinking about denim jackets, and so
Yeah.
that's why I have
Yeah.
the black one.
No, it's great.
And shut your mouth.
Oh my gosh. We might be giggling right now because we just do when we're dancing along to our song, but we left off on the dangers of ignoring anxiety.
Yeah, it was serious
We
stuff,
got a little,
huh?
I mean, I didn't even know how to insert humor into
know,
it, which,
yeah. know.
really gives me
And
anxiety.
I sometimes too, when I start talking about it, I can get really like stuck in it because it's so important, and people don't hear always the therapeutic part of it.
Right.
We throw depression and anxiety around.
We do.
Like there, it's like, and and I hate too. Let me tell you this. I hate when people say my depression or my anxiety.
Oh.
It's almost like this cloak that they wear that it belongs to them. And that's so
Interesting.
important that we don't identify as this is mine, because
that
that's
it's a
hard
part
to,
of us,
Mhm.
that it's a permanent part of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to pry that out of your hands.
Like they're protecting it
Yeah.
for themselves. Oh,
Mhm.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Depression is a big topic, and yes, it does get thrown out a lot. I think most people, I'm going to generalize, I'm not the professional here, but most people are going through some form of depression at some point in
Yeah.
their life. I know that I certainly was on an antidepressant medication during my divorce because I needed that combination.
What were you feeling that made you realize that this is not, this is beyond normal, and I
Yeah.
can't.
This was beyond our very informal, not really regulated therapy sessions and my journaling. I just didn't give a shit. Let's be honest. I really didn't. I didn't care if I showed up to something. If I did, I didn't care if my hair had been washed in
Yeah.
however many days.
That's the anhedonia. That.
Can you please spell that for the panel? Can you use that in a sentence?
That's what it looks like in real life.
That apathy. It was just, I didn't care. I couldn't be excited if somebody was
Yeah.
getting married or having a baby
Yeah.
or getting engaged, or I just didn't. And that was the time I filled my world with stuff. And I would think, well, maybe if I had a new outfit,
Yeah.
I would be a little bit excited about going somewhere. Maybe if I had a reason to wear this. So I was
Looking
totally
for a
upside
way
down.
to kind of alleviate it a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so along with our, let's just call it therapeutic lunches, I needed a therapeutic med.
Yeah.
I couldn't get myself out of this. And you just talked about the 3 a.m. thoughts that come up in our mind, which,
Yeah.
by the way, I'd like somebody to answer for us, asking for a friend, why does the smoke alarm always go off at 3 a.m.? So smoke alarms and the thoughts that keep us up in the middle of the night. Now, those things happen on the same
Well, I
night of
think
sleep.
that-
Forget it.
For when our bodies are at the kind of the quietest, and we don't have a ton of things to suppress that noise, that our brains don't go to sleep necessarily when we're sleeping. they go into the subconscious. And so
Yeah.
oftentimes, because I think we go through these stages in our sleep, and there are
Yeah.
times where we are closer to kind of consciousness. And I think that if we're really dealing with a lot of stuff, we kind of like pop out of it.
Right.
And,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost become kind of nocturnal, in a way, because that was happening to me. And then I would be tired all day long, and
Yeah.
that added to it in
Right,
a terrible,
right.
terrible way. So I did get medicated, and that helped me get out of bed.
Yeah.
And it helped me take a shower and brush my teeth and, put clothes on, whether they were new or not, and get out into the world.
Right.
And I needed that to build that bridge for me to come out of one phase of life and find my way to the other side of the
Yes,
island,
yes.
right? To this new phase of life. And
But what was
needed
it what was the part that was pulling you? Because people can get lost in it. And yes, medication, people will often kind of finally succumb. All right, give me medication. And which is it's very disheartening.
Yeah.
It's not a magic pill. It is something that can alleviate helps with the when something bad happens, whether we're predisposed to it or it's something like more of like a trauma, like what you're experiencing, that stress has effect on us physically,
For
right?
sure.
And so physically it also includes kind of chemically and what happens in our brains, when cortisol levels go up and everything starts to shift when stress hits. And so it can affect our brain chemistry as well. So taking that medication can absolutely help to kind of, I guess, get your head out of the water so you can breathe again.
Yes.
But there's also this pull that we've been talking about, this thread that keeps showing up in our conversations, that pull towards, I want to get on the other side of this. What's on the other side of that? Looking back at that bout of depression and maybe other ones in your life, what do you think that was?
That made me acknowledge it was time that
you
to bring
wanted, what
something
made you
else in,
want to be better,
to be
feel
better. Those of you that don't know me, I am a champion sleeper. And that probably is why I'm a little bit too energetic throughout the day. And I was no longer sleeping, and I was no longer energetic or excited for anything. And we've talked about the epiphany I had at Disneyland, taking the picture of I need to be divorced.
Yeah.
And I did nothing about it for however many months until he did something for me and for us about it. I had a second epiphany in my life, and it was, what am I going to do from here? Am I going to be this same person and carry her into her next story and her next relationship and her next career, whatever that was? Or am I going to change her? So you recently asked me, what is it about me that is constantly evolving? I'm having my own moment. It's all coming together for me. It was that second epiphany of, I need to look at myself here, because I don't know that I had done that, because I had that armor. Maybe it wasn't, a self-diagnosis of anxiety or depression type of armor, but I had an armor about me. And it just had to come off.
Yeah.
And
because why? Because, I'm asking not to put you on the spot, but it's
Put me on the spot.
to kind of dig out this thing that we keep talking about being a woman and kind of knowing at some level, like we've done ourselves a disservice, whether it's in life choices, it's in relationships where we just abandoned her.
Yeah. Oh, and I was so abandoned. I just truly, truly was.
Yeah.
And I really knew in that second epiphany, I did not want to be this version or that version of myself moving forward. And it really was that big of a moment of, what am I going to do from here? Am I going to be the woman that's, whose husband cheated on her,
the
and she's a
scorned
victim.
woman, yeah.
Yeah, and she becomes a man hater, and,
Yeah.
and all of those things. Or was I going to be somebody that said, what was my part in this that allowed this marriage to fall apart, to get to that point that we couldn't come back from it? And it was that the marriage was already done. There wasn't any coming back from anything, but it was that moment of, oh my gosh, I need to look at myself, and I need to understand where I kind of went wrong here, where I could have done better.
Right.
And what am I going to do with myself going forward? I don't want to be a victim. And that was the moment I said, I will never financially rely on a man again. All of these huge life choices came to me. It doesn't mean I won't partner. It doesn't mean I won't support. It doesn't mean I won't do all of those things, but I want to be in a marriage or in a relationship because I want to be there.
Yeah.
And I want to be in a partnership with somebody because we show up for each other as who we are. And it was all that time talking with you. It was getting on the medication so I could sleep and have a clear thought in a day. I mean, forget clean underwear. Let's have a clean thought, people. I mean, that was really where I was at. And so that epiphany I'm so, so grateful for, because 20 years later, I'm constantly evaluating myself of, could I have done better? Did I show up as my best self in that moment?
And I'm gonna not label it, but I'm going to explain it in a way where what you did very naturally then set you up for now the second half of your life.
Yeah.
And a different type of relationship, marriage.
Yeah.
Comes with its own its own issues.
Right.
But what you did there was you listened to that, your intuition. You listened to that part where, like, I deserve better. I deserve. I am good. I am kind. I am loved. I love myself. And when you can do that, that's part of that voice. When you listen to her, then it becomes about her.
Yeah.
Then every choice that you make is a, hey, self, where are you at with it? Or if your self starts to, like we talked about before, starts to buzz a little bit like, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You listen to her, because what you're doing is you are reforming, you are reestablishing this healthy relationship with yourself. You're teaching yourself what it feels like to be in a kind, loving, safe relationship with yourself. Then you take that into life and into the next relationship, knowing that if it doesn't feel the way that you made yourself feel, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
And it's no.
Yeah. And I don't want to take this in a direction maybe we weren't prepared for, but learning to read my own red flags and learning to say, I am not somebody I love right now, or I'm not somebody that's showing up right now. Those helped me identify them with my husband when he was going through a very, very difficult time of depression, a suicidal level of depression that I learned to now not only see those in myself, but to see them for him.
Right.
And so it was life-saving for me.
Right. I was going to say, if you didn't go through that process.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it that, you're seemingly thought that this was one of the worst things that you went through, and the hardest things was actually just setting you up for the hardest thing, and not getting lost in it, which was something that was so beautiful watching you navigate through it.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think that it really allowed us to have that communication you've talked about so much, that when we were forced to address what was happening with his mental health, we could not ignore this anymore. And it really, I'm not recommending this to anybody, but there was some trickery involved where I had called our family counselor and said, I'm desperate to bring him in. And she clears her day, thank you, Sarah. And I'm driving somewhere, and then it's on the way he realizes, wait a minute, we're going to Sarah's. And yes, we are.
It's like a dog realizing he was going to the vet.
That's right. That's right. And
sorry, Gary.
when you pee on the carpet, you get hit over the face, over the nose with some newspaper.
Sorry, I had to throw a little bit of humor in there. Go. Break up that.
So we get there,
Seriousness.
and I sit down on the couch with him for about 15, 20 minutes so that I can call him out for his BS, and he can't fool her into saying something that he thinks she wants to hear. Laid it all out, and I said, I'll be in the car. And literally 3.5 hours later, she called me and said, you can come back in.
That right there is boundaries, because if you didn't do that, it would have been hard to continue to manage through that.
Oh.
Right? Like just helping him, supporting him, but also we know that when our partners are going through something, the safest place to kind of take it out is on your partner.
Sure.
And so it can feel like this target on your chest with a red laser, and you're trying to get away from it. But what you said was, oh no, we're going to. We're going to get some help, because I'm not going to. I'm not losing myself in that.
That's
you might
right.
not have thought that back then, but I think that work that you had done really set you up to recognize, wait a minute, I can't fix this.
Right. No, it was above my pay grade.
Yeah.
It was. And at some point, it was not because I'm being judgy about him or I'm trying to be negative about him, but he did stop listening to me at some point, and I needed somebody else to come in. But if he hadn't have loved me and respected me enough, I don't know that he would have sat on that couch for 3.5 hours.
Right.
He wasn't there for him in that moment. He was there because we had just lost a very good friend to suicide. And I was truly, truly worried he would be the next name on the news. And he loved me enough, because he couldn't do it for himself in that moment. Until eventually he was going to counseling, and my cousin Danny was helping him with yoga and getting him to calm his brain, get back in touch with his body. This is somebody who's always been in tune with his body, and he had lost that. And we were you want to talk about fortuitous timing in a situation. We were now where my cousin was visiting all the time, and she was getting ready to move to San Diego and was moving in with us. And so he had a built-in yoga instructor who taught him how to meditate and how to really clear your head in Shavasana, right? So it took a freaking village. It took the formal counseling sessions. It took the yoga and meditation sessions. It took him learning about classical music from an incredible, incredible foundation we're a part of, Sophie's Place. And it took all of those elements. So I could not do it on my own.
No, absolutely. But if you go back, you would not have been able to do all of those things, keep your wits about you, if you had not done the work that you had done.
Agreed.
On yourself, which then, again, by doing this, it's not this, everything is perfectly fine, right? Life happens.
Yeah.
Hard things happen. But what you did, that work that you did, and this is the beauty of this work that we do, is that you then can pay it forward and show your partner, your other people you're in relationships with, that if they're going to be in this relationship with you, they're coming along on this ride. And it's not the Corey show, but it's healthy. And the healing that happened because of it, you taught him the same techniques, the same skills of quieting all of the stressors, the noise, coming inside, learning how to manage that on a very holistic, natural way, which is so beautiful, which is very in control, right? We have control of that, which then helped him to get back in control of his emotions
Right.
and then learn how to manage those emotions.
Yeah.
So like that's the beauty of this work of listening to
Yeah.
that voice, your intuition. You dug it out of that first marriage. You dug yourself out. You learned what she needed you learned how to take care of her. You learned how to have a great relationship with yourself, what it feels like to be in a healthy relationship. And then you take that into this new marriage where he needed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that's the way that this works.
And that's part of that when you say it's universal,
Yeah.
that we all have to evolve. We all have to do the work. We all have to pull the plant from the root to get down into it. That never stops.
No.
And I think knowing how I came out off that bridge from the island and I'm on mainland now and I'm on solid ground, the same for my husband and the same for anything that is a stress or an anxiety, a cause and effect type of a thing, right? So work gets stressful. I get grouchy. Oh, just this morning, I got to check myself.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling disorganized. And so it made me irritable.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little tiny moment of work, but I needed to acknowledge that I'm not showing up as my best self because when I feel disorganized, that gives me anxiety.
Right. You see how it just kind of feeds it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's not your best self is your true self. And I think
But
that
depends on the day.
What'd you say?
That depends on the day, or some might beg to differ. Oh, there goes my
But
pen.
that's the piece. You mention it as your best self.
Yeah.
But that is who you're supposed to be. Right? And in its purest form, it guides you.
Yeah.
She guides you, which then guides your relationships.
And I'm supposed to be flawed. I'm human. I'm not supposed to be perfect.
No, you're not.
Whether I've had perfectionism issues or not, I'm supposed to be flawed. And knowing I'm supposed to be flawed means I know I have to keep doing the work.
Right.
Because for me, the work is to not beat myself up when I'm not perfect. Just show up.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be perfect, but show up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll watch this episode and laugh at my splotchy spray tan because that's always the thing I see first.
You're so self-conscious about that, Corey.
Because I really should just not be a cheap ass and just go into the booth and get sprayed. But I'm a cheap ass, so I do it at home and it's always splotchy. And then but I think I'm going to get better at it. I don't get better at it, but
at the heart of that, not to digress.
no,
which we totally
please do. I'm glad it's you, not me.
I don't know anybody who takes care of their skin like you do.
Oh,
You're like the importance
of
oh my
it.
gosh.
Yeah.
So you joke about that. It's not like,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's what's underneath it. See, that's
it,
what's underneath
there's a purpose
it.
to it.
Mhm.
And that's
Because
my
you love
point,
yourself
right?
so
yes.
much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I care about how I take
Yeah.
I care about how I care for myself. And I'm not always going to do it great. One night not so long ago, we watched Apple TV and ate Doritos for dinner. Not a great choice.
It's delightful.
It was delicious. Not a great choice, but that's okay because the next day I'm going to take better care of myself. So that work doesn't have to be huge, but not eating the Doritos every day and allowing myself to just have that moment where my husband and I just say, you know what, we don't want to do this. Neither one of us is going to make dinner.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Doritos. We don't feel like doing anything. We're not motivated. We allow ourselves that moment of honesty to say, this is all we've got in ourselves. But guess what? The next day, we're going to get our butts to the gym and we're going to eat better because we're going to take care of ourselves because all of it, the boundaries, the self-care, the acknowledgement of anxiety, the sleep, all of it is what keeps us to our true selves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it just does. So grateful for everything that I have been through because it has gotten me to this point today, sitting here in this chair across from you. And without it, I wouldn't be who I am, which is a constant work in progress to be my best self and be happy with her and love her, but also for my husband and also for my friends.
You know, I there was something that you said in there about always having to work on it. This isn't a one and done.
No.
Right? Once you find her and you pull her out, dust her off, and take care of her, everything comes, I think I've said this before, this idea of self-care comes from self-love.
Yes.
You have to have that, and you constantly have to keep coming back to her because she is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's how we get through these difficult things that life throws at us in the most graceful way possible.
Right. And sometimes if it is bigger than what we can manage, we don't hesitate to get our butt back on that couch with the therapist in the chair. I'm never opposed to if either my husband or I have to revisit medication, then that's what we have to do because that allows us to do the work. So that's okay, wherever you're at with it, however you're showing up. And
I think talking too, and I know that we'll kind of probably start wrapping this up right here, but I think I'd love to talk about how doing this work, and it all sounds peachy keen when you've got an on, your husband is on board, and he listens to you, and it's great.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm fortunate.
Right, you absolutely are. But that's all self-imposed. You created that life for you. But the question is often, well, how do I do that if I don't feel like I have that support in my relationship? Where it's like, do I ditch him? No, you don't have to. So.
That's a question for you. The therapist is in, sign is up. We're going to continue on that. What you do when your spouse doesn't listen. Where do we start?
Get the wet noodle out.
Roll up that newspaper.
Total.
Violence is never acceptable.
Got a question on your mind, little tangled, hard to find. Pull up a chair, let's unwind. We'll talk it out together. We're just asking for a friend. Corey and Roseanne again. Laugh it off, learn as we go, turning I don't know into ooh. Now I get it in the end. Yeah, we're asking for a friend. Big dreams every day, miss. Tiny wins, heavy stress. Pour it out, you'll feel less alone in all this weather. We're just asking for a friend.